one tip for sweaty lawyer headshots. These guys, these are like they're like oil absorbing sheets, and these are cool because they're like charcoal and sustainable. So I've been shooting like onboarding like new hire headshots all morning, and so I just jumped on with you, and then I realized how like shiny I am. So I figured this is a good opportunity to show how effective these things can be and how gross it is, how oily people get.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm disgusting. I'm Italian. Like we're just totally
got that
and
Mediterranean blood.
yeah. Well, and then I've got a pimple patch on here, so that's like, but that's mostly
What are
you
gonna
can't
do?
really
This is
see it.
real. This is live.
This
You know,
and
like,
this is what I want the Raw Files podcast to
The raw
be.
file.
Like this is it. That's why we call it. That's why
Yeah.
we have zero plan, but we're going to talk. You were saying there's something about brands reaching out to you though, with
Oh
like
yeah.
once you get a certain number of subscribers on YouTube.
There's an authenticity problem on YouTube, right? I mean, I know you've experienced this, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you know, I try to make content exclusively for working photographers or people who want to be working photographers, tips that other people aren't giving. Because if you want to learn how to do great lighting and make models look amazing, then that's not my channel. That's not my vibe at all. I'm like, you know, it's only recently I started sharing how I shoot. You know, I've always been like sharing business practices. I feel like, you know, because not enough people do that. There's almost like a universal paywall across the entire photography industry as far as actually giving actionable business advice.
Okay, can we talk about that? I want to talk about that more.
100%. It's like, yeah,
Okay.
okay, here's this. Guess how many photographers can make that model look good? All of them. 100% of them, because it's impossible to take a bad photo of that person. How many photographers are going to teach you how to make a living? You know,
Well,
that I think is
few,
important.
so few. But and okay, so I started YouTube 5 years ago now or something like that. And the business video, I love business. I would talk about business all the time. Nobody watched those videos.
Nobody watches them.
Nobody
Well, that's the thing
watches
is,
them.
I've just resigned myself to the fact that if I get 1,000 views on a video, I'm perfectly happy with it. That's 1,000 people who needed what my dad told me this one time. And it was the first time, 2014, that I had ever spoken on the stage at Imaging USA. And I was really nervous. It was my first big platform presentation at a
Do you still get
conference.
nervous?
No, not at all. Only
Okay,
when it's
just curious.
new. Only when it's something I haven't done before. The first time, and then it's fine. Like, I recently did a stage talk for Fujifilm at WPPI, and I've not done a stage talk for a camera brand before. That was new. So that was I was nervous then, but I could do it again, and I could do it again. But anyway, so I was freaking out, and like I do a lot when I'm freaking out, I call my dad. So I called my dad. My dad is like, he's the steady hand. He's really good in certain situations. You have to know when to use the dad, when to phone a friend and call dad. And
Yeah.
and I was kind of insecure about the whole thing. So I said, Dad, you know, like I got this thing. There's going to be a lot of people. And
Hey, Gary, real quick, keep going, but get that
Yeah.
mic closer. People are saying that they can hardly hear you.
all right, I'm going to turn it up.
Up
There we
your
go.
gain. That
Up
now
my
I can
game.
hear you.
There we go. How's that,
Yay.
everybody? Sorry about that.
So much better.
Again, I set
Okay,
this
Dad.
up 10 seconds ago. Yeah, so
Same.
I called
Call
my
Dad,
dad, and I was like, Dad, what if I'm teaching and there are going to be photographers in the audience that are better than me at this, that make more money than I do at this? And he goes, and he just sits, he's quiet for a second. He says, listen, he goes, you're not talking to them. He says, you're talking, there is going to be somebody in that room who needs you, and you're talking to them. Talk to them and don't worry about anybody else. And that is like, you ever get a piece of advice that burns into your brain for the rest of your life? Like it just burns that neural pathway, forms that new wrinkle. And now I do that kind of with social media and YouTube and other stuff. It's like, if they're into it, they're into it. I'm not going to spend my time shilling for brands that I don't use. I'm not going to shill for brands I don't use. I'm not going to say I use products that I don't. I'm not going to pretend to like things that I don't like. And so when you get to a certain size, I think about 10,000 is probably the number. When you cross 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, the emails start coming every week, and it's like, "Hey, Viltrox, nice to see you," or whoever wants to send you stuff. And they're like, "Hey, I got this thing, and we'll send you a free one if you make 3 videos about it." I'm like, "Do you have any idea how long it takes to produce a good YouTube video? Even a simple good YouTube video?"
that abuse, like just thinking it's, hey, I have a story about this last week. And she may or may not see this, so I apologize if you see this. And this, I didn't tell you personally. I'm not putting your name here, but you'll know who you are. I have someone who runs a conference, and she's asked for, can I use your headshot on my, direct mail flyer when I advertise? Like, yeah, sure. I'm going to speak there. It's fine. And then it was, and for the record, I don't get paid by the conference to speak. I have to pull in my own sponsors just to cover my expenses. But it is a good conference.
As it is a lot for a lot of us. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Then a couple weeks later, she's like, hey, can I grab this photo to put on my basically direct mail piece that I'm sending to venues? And it was a photo. I'm like, I'd have to dig it up, but I have a virtual assistant. So I was like, hey, Joanna, my virtual assistant, can you dig up this photo so she can put it on, it was a really pretty venue shot basically that I had. And then she's like, okay, great, thanks. And then like days later, she's like, hey, do you have a photo of, someone, fixing like a place setting so it could look like a planner, and I could put it on my postcard that I'm sending to all the planners to get them to come, because it's a wedding conference, generic wedding conference, to come. And at that point, I'm like, what, do I have it? Yes, I do. But I just said like, sorry, no. And it wasn't sorry, no, I didn't have it, because I don't want to lie. It was sorry, no, I don't have the time to go dig that up for you right now, basically.
Right.
And her response was like, if you could capture that at some point, like that would be really helpful, because they're so hard to find.
If you're marketing a thing, you're already getting people to basically work for almost nothing. A conference can't pay you enough to make it worth you being there. The sponsors, the money always comes from the sponsors. If you think that, if people go to a conference and like they must be getting paid a fortune, no, we're not. Like just to make the same amount of money at Imaging USA, for example, and not to disparage them. I mean, they have to.
No,
not at all. I'm not Every
yeah.
conference is the same. They pay you. They absolutely pay you, and in some cases, they pay for your travel or your hotel occasionally. Mm-hmm. But like ultimately, you're there to teach. And if you just take what the conference gives you, you're usually going into your own pocket. So I know that at Imaging this year, for example, I had to make the same amount of money that I would have made in my studio in the same amount of time I was there. I did 8 sponsor activations at Imaging. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, that's worth it. And that covers my hotel, my flight.
The opportunity loss on top of your expenses, right?
Yes, that's it. That's all. And so we're working. And I guess this kind of brings me back to what I was saying about that content
about
and
being
education.
A shill.
But at the same time, it's like you and I are those content creators that we also absolutely run a business. Like the vast majority of my income comes from my photography business.
Same.
And so,
yep.
and so and I think that puts people like you in a unique position where you can talk about business.
Yes,
because
and very few people can.
No, and nobody. I mean, there's not to say that being a content creator isn't running a business, but it's not running a photography business. So you can't give photography business.
It's not running a consumer-faced business.
No, it's right? Not. And look, being a content creator, YouTuber, TikToker, I don't even know platforms that don't exist that I know make money. I don't know. I'm old, but like that is running a business, and I know people who do that really, really well. Like our friend Miguel Quiles is a fantastic creator and runs a great business. But like, when you're doing business education, one of the things that always has been in my head is that I can't teach business or marketing how to make a living unless I am also doing that.
I agree. And I think you get really irrelevant really fast.
Yes. But funny enough, there are plenty of people out there teaching business who don't have one.
I know.
And that's hard to swallow, because I'm a high road.
Hard to swallow.
I'm a high road guy. I don't get negatives, especially on social media, but sometimes it's really hard to you want to jump in the comments, which is basically
you are full of it.
Like, yeah, that like bog in the Never-Ending Story where the horse drowns, like that, like that's what you're jumping into when you comment on something. And so I wish I could remember the name of the horse now. I feel like I've lost my nerd cred, but whatever. Atreyu, but
no, that's Falcor, Atreyu, Artex.
Artex. Oh, dude, I knew you'd have it. You're so clutch. But like sometimes you just want to go, hey, so don't you think that this is bad advice to sort of maybe? But you don't. You just back off and just put good stuff into the world and hope the people who need to hear you,
Miguel just popped in. Miguel, did you hear when Gary was singing your praises about 16 seconds ago?
He popped in to say, "Get your name out of my name out of your mouth."
Out your mouth.
Get my name. Hey,
Okay,
Miguel.
I have to go back to the Shill with the brand thing, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
obviously, I have to for a lot of reasons. One, first of all, if you really want the piece of gear and it's worth your time, like, sure, I've done things like, for
If it's enough gear, and
a
it's
trade, right?
If it's equivalent,
Okay,
or nearly equivalent.
But
Okay.
why is it that in the photo world, we, for some reason, think that we're only allowed to take on commercials if we are a user and buyer of that thing? Do you think Jennifer Aniston, when she does a perfume commercial, uses that perfume?
I think it's an interesting way to look at it.
You know what I mean? Like, or any celebrity that you see talking to you about shampoo or a fashion whatever. Like,
I believe that
you
Wilford
think-
Brimley actually had type 2 diabetes, though. Diabetes.
Okay, well,
I believe he did. I think he probably really did.
True.
Yeah.
But
So
I just think it's a weird thing. And there's this weird, and it's only in the photo community, I think, because in the influencer community, people get paid to create like an ad, and exclusivity to that product genre is not implied. But for some reason in the photography world, exclusivity to that product genre is implied.
Yeah, I guess it's not, to me, I think what you're saying makes sense, right? Like, so if a brand wants to pay you, hey, will you talk about it? Do you do any like checks on the brand, like before you do a commercial for Squarespace, although you may or actually use Squarespace or whoever your sponsors are? Do you check the company out and make sure that the product is viable, to make sure that the company offers decent support, that you support their sort of overall general whatever, or do you just go like, that's my rate and I'll talk about anything if you pay me this rate? Like,
Yeah.
how do you handle that?
So, I mean, me personally, I will look at the thing. Let's just say it's a light, right? I want to get it. And be like, okay, I could see an audience for this because let's just say Profoto, that's who I use, right? I love Profoto. I'm not exclusive to Profoto, but that's who I use for my business, my photography business. But I had Zhiyun is a light, that continuous light that came in, and it's a less expensive one. And to me, even though I'm not necessarily going to use it, I think there is a good audience for it. So why would I not show that to my audience?
Did you have at least a decent, good faith belief that they make a product that would be useful to people in that price range?
Right. Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Here's the thing. And you know what's, I told Seth Miranda, I told him, I'm like, dude, I would hire you to be my consultant because that man knows so much about every company, about every like shady deal, like back end stuff. And he's gotten mad at me at like certain like deals that like I've done, like sponsorship deals. And he's like, because don't you know that this company XYZ? I'm like, no, I didn't know that this company XYZ.
I did. Look, I did not do my due diligence. They paid me, and it seemed fine at the time. Like, I do think there's a limit, right? Okay, so if you go into any brand you use, and you start pulling on that ethical thread, eventually you're going to find like an evil rich white man at the top of it going like, like somewhere, or some venture capitalist just swimming in a Scrooge McDuck style money bin. Like you cannot find any mass produced product where you can't trace it back to an evil billionaire. So you just do the best you can, right? Like
of course, because like, again, you're a creator, but you're a business owner. I have a photography business to run. There's only so much time I can spend on vetting these companies. So I would flat out pay someone like Seth Miranda like $1,000 per company I ask him about. Like I would flat out pay that hands down because I do
I'll
care
just give
about
him.
the
I'll just give him
integrity.
20% finder's fee on whatever I get paid to make sure that they're not evil. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like only a little evil. They're just a little evil.
Could
Like,
you give me a sliding scale of how evil exactly?
Let me tell you what, I don't care what camera company, what lights you use, what product you are. It's probably a child made it in a factory where they get paid very little. That's almost certainly the case. Like it's just the way, So how it's impossible to be 100% ethical.
It's true. No one's perfect.
I just don't think it's possible. It is possible to at least like think about it and to apply it to your own life and say, well, you know what? I don't like the way, see, this company took this product and they stole the design and they made it cheaper.
Hate that.
And you know, and stuff like that. But at the same time, that's kind of the way business works. Is somebody comes out with something awesome and then people copy it, you know, like.
Yeah, without doing all the R&D.
You kind of got to go with your gut. It's like eating out or buying clothes, and you do your best and where you can. And honestly, because like mass produced stuff, some people can't afford a Pro Photo Light right now.
Of course.
And some people can't.
100%.
Some people can't afford, you know, the GFX system right now, even though they want it really bad. So some people can't afford a brand new camera. There's lots of things that some people can't afford, and you just have to do your best. Like, for example, you know, Walmart, this big, probably like the bell curve for big evil corporations. You know, they underpay, they do everything they can to avoid paying people a living wage. And not only that, but they force companies to make crappier versions of their products so that they can sell it at a cheaper price just to be in their stores. Like, they are the evil empire of retail, right?
Oh, man. But raving review.
they are. I haven't given Walmart so much as a nickel of my money in almost 20 years.
And now I don't want to either.
And but like, you know, we could go into that, but I don't. I think that's my point. Is that if you are struggling to make ends meet, or you have a bunch of kids, or you live in, like, you have to shop where it's the least expensive. It's the most responsible thing for you to do.
We need a solution for them too.
Right, exactly. So that, like, it has to exist. It exists for a reason. Like, the universe created it because it needed to be, in a way. And so, like, not everybody can afford the 20% extra money that you pay going to Target over a Walmart or whatever it is. You know, you just can't. Like, our local grocery store in Florida is Publix. I don't know if you've ever been in a Publix.
Yes, I do. I love Publix.
World's greatest grocery store. Also probably evil.
Have you been to a Texas H-E-B? Started by a widow.
I have been to H-E-B. But Publix, if you're a Florida kid, Florida Publix. And plus the subs. Everybody likes pub subs. But, you know, but they are significantly more expensive than shopping at, like, Aldi or Walmart. And so you just kind of... you shop there as you can, and boy, we shop to buy one get one. So that's how we do. Because I got 4 kids, man. But
four kids. I mean, you try to even it out with other things in your life. Like,
you do the best you can.
If you're me, you just randomly start like a nonprofit. You know,
yes,
just start a nonprofit while you're at it, which I did start a couple weeks ago.
Which is going very well, right?
It is going well. So behind the scenes, so you can head to that link if you want to hear about the nonprofit. By all means, pop on there. It's in the chat up on the screen. But before I launched it, we were at WPBI, and Gary, I think I was texting you, and I'm like, I'm so scared. I don't know if I got to do this. I'm so scared because I had watched Manny Ortiz get more death threats than anybody the second he posted a photo of the village lifestyle that I'm helping to support. So, but you talked me off a ledge there, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be of service. But that's the thing too, I think, with, you know, when you're going to jump down somebody's throat for trying to do something, and it's sort of like people get genuinely incensed. And guess what? Go ahead and just dial that back and turn around and look into your own closet and see what you got, what skeletons are rattling around in there, because I'm pretty sure that you're not perfect either. And I don't understand YouTube as an outlet for rage. You know?
Why is that? I mean, it bleeds into other platforms, but it really is YouTube.
YouTube, and I find YouTube and Twitter are probably, or X now, are probably the two most, like, the most vitriol of any social media platform. But you also create a culture around your stuff by the content that you put out. But ultimately,
and by blocking as many people as possible.
I've never had the urge watching a video or anything to just start going, you know, I just go, well, that sucked. And then I just go on to another video. People forget that it's free.
I know,
nobody
they really
made you watch it. And like I've had people leave comments like they're mad about my thumbnail, but like, your thumbnail, I wouldn't have clicked on it, but the thumbnail, I'm like, good, that was the job. The thumbnail did its job, you know, like,
congratulations. The good headline worked. Oh man, yesterday I posted a video. I had someone insult me, telling me how you shouldn't be posting this on April Fool's Day. You should have posted it yesterday because it was World Backup Day. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not rearranging my schedule on like made up holidays.
I'm honestly blown away that you have a schedule because I make a video and it goes up immediately. I have the most I've ever had in the queue, I think, is 2. You know, like
I've had
as
a
I
month's-
just
a month's worth
that
usually.
would be nice. God, what would that be like if I had like a month's worth of videos?
I have a team.
ready to launch.
Are you editing your own?
Yeah, yarp, yep. I'm working
Okay.
on. Yeah, I know.
How are you doing? Okay, everybody always asks this question, and we're kind of going back to like, people who teach business that aren't actually doing business. How are you? What is your like percentage in the time you spent, and then maybe also in the money you make? Like, how much is the education stuff you do, and how much is your actual photography business?
My photography business is probably 80% of my income,
Mm-hmm.
and then education is probably about 20%.
Nice. Is that where you
and then-
want it to be?
Yeah, I think that over time, what do they say? Multiple streams of income, is what you're always trying to do. And so the problem is with the education thing. I feel like that for a lot of us, there's like a countdown clock to where people aren't going to care anymore. Like there's a lot of ageism and stuff like I'm going to retire from photography, in 10 years or so, maybe 15. And then I won't be able to teach business anymore because what I
Right.
teach, my business and my education are really closely intertwined with each other. But ultimately, I think I'm just trying to get multiple streams of income because I've also now got a software platform, Headshot Tools, and that provides
Yes, I'm going to
and
put
that
that link up.
and that provides income as well. And so I've got my software platform, I've got my photography business, and I've got my education stuff. And those 3 things together really combine to make, obviously not all my income because, I also, sell drugs and that's important, but I can't really talk about that.
Obviously. No.
It's like,
But it is why
yes.
you're in Florida, obviously.
Yes, I sell street level ibuprofen.
Yeah. Headshot Tools
No-
is great. I used it, well, and by I mean my headshot photographer used it just today.
Today, really? Oh, how about that?
Just
yeah, it's,
today and yesterday.
yeah, it is. It's been that's something that I didn't anticipate becoming what it has become, but it's been very cool. But I don't want to make it a Headshot Tools commercial. Nobody likes that. But
No, but we could make it a Publix chicken tendies for the win. That is what the votes are. And I don't know. There's a fierce battle in here. I got Darth saying HEB beats all the others.
Darth
got-
Prime.
Yeah, we've got 11, I guess. Oh, XL. Yes, HEB. I don't know. That's 2 votes for HEB and 1 for Publix. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
that's the thing is everybody wins. You have a store that you like. I have a store that I like. Street pharmacist, thank you, Miguel. Also, what I like to do with the Publix chicken tendies is I like to take them home and put them in the air fryer for about a minute, and it just crisps them up a little bit more.
Oh,
and
that's
good.
smart.
Yeah. I
Oh,
do that
that's
with.
good.
Dude, do you have Costco by you? Are you a member
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
Costco membership club?
I am a member of the Costco.
Yeah, the Costco. Yeah, the interesting part is that my Costco bill monthly with our family of 6 is actually more than my mortgage, which is insane.
Wow. Well, it's a
Yeah, we
family
eat
of
a lot.
6.
We eat a lot, and
Yeah.
But so everything that Costco makes, by the time it gets home from Costco, it's not at like optimum eating temperature like the hot food, right? So
Right.
I have a way to improve every hot food from a grocery store when it gets home. It's like baste it and air fry it, add barbecue sauce and broil it. Like I have a little system for everything that
What
it
about
comes
the
in.
pizza?
Oh, pizza! You absolutely have to crisp up the pizza. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. What's your
Just
method?
a little.
Because I live in an area of Austin. I'm like just north of Austin. And because I'm so far deep into my development, pizza always arrives cold.
Yeah. Well, you got to
sucks.
just preheat the oven. That's it.
Okay.
You just got to put it on. You just got to preheat it to like 350. Then you pop the pizza in there and you let that sit for 5 minutes. If you like a little crispy, you broil it for like 2 minutes. Put it on
Okay.
broil for like 2 minutes. But I
Broil.
mean, if it's 2.5
But is
minutes,
that
your
going
pizza.
to crisp the bottom? I'm really picky. I'm from
Not the
Jersey.
bottom.
I am
Not
used
the
to like
bottom.
New York pizza, like good pizza, which is non-existent in Austin, next to good bagels, also non-existent.
Listen. People
I
from
don't want
New York and
floppy
New
pizza,
Jersey.
Gary. No
I look.
floppy.
I get people from. I think there's the pizza problem where I believe everybody believes that the pizza where they grew up is the best pizza, and I think it
you
just
can't
has to do.
possibly believe Florida has the best pizza.
well, where I grew up, there was a pizza shop called Anna's Pizza, and it was a little Italian lady, and I don't mean like New Jersey Italian, I mean like off the boat from Sicily.
Got
and
it.
she and her like 4 sons ran a little pizza shop, and the pizza was so good. It was like New York style pizza, I guess you'd call it, like just big slices, you know. And it was so good that they didn't even take your information when you called in an order. They would just hang up on you. You'd be like, "Can I have a large pizza?" She goes, 20 minutes, and then hangs up on you, and she knows you're coming to get it, you know,
That's
because they're just
hysterical.
making pizza all day long. And that was like our go-to. And even to this day, whether or not it's the best pizza, it hits me in the feels. It's the nostalgia of Anna's Pizza. You know, so I feel like there's a lot of stuff like that, like how I love Publix and whatever. But whatever is the pizza, to me, I call it the Saturday Night Live effect, right? So if you watch Saturday Night Live, or if you're familiar with Saturday Night Live, every single person has an opinion on what the best era of Saturday Night Live was, and it's usually when they were between a certain age and a certain age, and they watched it the most. The truth is, objectively, it has always been about 40 to 50% funny, and about 50 to 60% not funny, because it's a live show. It's incredibly difficult to produce and write that much
I
content
know
every single week.
I know that one of the video editors that edits like live all night long.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
an
incredibly
difficult thing, and so. But I think if you ask my dad, he'd be like, well, you know, obviously the Chevy Chase or whatever. And if you ask like a Gen Xer, they're like, oh, Dana Carvey and Mike Myers. And if you ask like me, like a younger millennial, like or older millennial, younger Gen X, I'll be like, oh yeah, absolutely, Will Ferrell, Anna Gasteyer, Tina Fey, like that was the era, you know, that was when it
No,
was the
for
funniest.
us, for me, it was when Living Color was on.
Oh, In Living Color.
Yes.
Oh, dude, Jim Carrey launched there, and the
Yep.
Wayans brothers. Yeah.
Okay, so this actually is really good for a lot of things. One, let's just talk about the fact that all marketing, if they know what they're doing, bases their marketing on the nostalgia point for that demographic, right? Because that's like the strongest, which is why, by the way, in the wedding photography world, the trend of direct flash and blurry photos and film, the reason why it's so popular right now is because that's the nostalgia point for the age demographic of people are getting married. But let's take it a little further.
Go for it.
What about your camera brand, Gary?
What? You want to talk about the camera brand that works on nostalgia? Yeah. Yeah. What do you have behind you there? Your little Canon film camera there.
You know, this was a gift from one of my mastermind students, actually. Isn't this the cutest? It's the Canon Canet 28.
I can't
You can
wrap
hardly
my head
control anything
around
on this thing.
why Canon hasn't stepped into this. The Fujifilm
The
X106.
nostalgia, I know.
Like
love
just make one. If they made a Canon, even if it was an APS-C camera that looked like that, with like what they put in the M5 Mark II or whatever, like they wouldn't be able to keep it in stock. It'd be crazy. I actually had a friend of mine. This is how nostalgia works. Contact me in yesterday, and her daughter just graduating college, and she's going on a trip to Europe. She asked me to help her find a camera that she could take with her, and she said she wants a retro point and shoot camera.
Wow.
Like
Specifically needs that.
Yeah, that's what she doesn't want to shoot with her phone. She wants a point and shoot camera that she can take with her. And I'm looking for all of these, like I'm looking on Adorama used department, I'm looking on KEH. I'm trying to find like a cool old point and shoot camera that has really great features. And I was like,
You know
no,
what would
she
take a
doesn't-
lot less time than looking on all that? Just ask Seth. Because
Just-
again,
yeah.
the man knows everything.
Said to be like, hey, I take this one. I got it's in the cargo pocket of my shorts right here. I'll take it out right now. You just have that one. I don't even use it anymore. Yeah, you can do that. 100%. That is a very bad Seth Brand. I'm sorry.
That was a little Jersey, not Brooklyn accent there.
Oh,
He
I
doesn't
apologize.
say shorts.
Shorts. Yeah. Are those cargo shorts? Those are great. Those are great cargo shorts. I got to get me a pair. No, but that nostalgia thing is like the whole generation, and she's 20 to 22 years old, and graduating with an engineering degree, going to work for Lockheed Martin, all these, and then she's going to Europe for the summer, and she wants a point and shoot. And I'm looking up like, oh, let me look at these Canon G series. Remember the G series, like the G12,
Yes.
G15s? Like
You
those
can't
are
get
great.
them. Yeah.
Oh, you can? Yeah, used on KEH. I found.
Well,
they're
there you go. A couple,
yeah.
if you're lucky.
And I think I saw one on Adorama's used department too. But anyway, and I was like, no, that's too much camera. So I ended up finding like an old, it was like a Fujifilm Fine Pix 8 megapixel camera for like $60. I'm like, $60? I could probably get one of these at Goodwill for like 4, but like, there it is. And
There it
so,
is.
yeah, I think that ultimately when it comes to marketing, what you're talking about is you have to understand who you're speaking to and then what pushes their buttons. And
Yeah.
so, and that you have to sort of, photographers have a problem where they're like, if my work is good enough, I should be able to have work.
No, because your clients don't know the difference between good and great photography, period.
Muggles don't know. The muggles have no idea.
You have such a great way of like making analogies for things that I've had in my head. What was it the other day? I saw your Instagram where you were talking,
the head tilt.
The head tilt, right? And I was always told, so like Monty Zucker, like back in the day, when we even described things
Monty
this way,
Zucker.
it was dominant masculine head tilt or a feminine vulnerable head tilt, right? Which is just so not correct in those definitions at all, gender norms or whatever. But how do you describe the head tilt? It was
But I like to always say that, at least because every picture I take is for someone for their job. I'm not a wedding photographer. I don't do family portraits. So I always say shoot the job, not the gender. And I think that what you end up getting is you get a lot of women who have PhDs in finance going, like this, and she manages $1 billion hedge fund, and you're posing her like she's in Olin Mills. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
So
like,
true.
and maybe in another situation, you photograph for the use of the image, not for the gender of the person in the image. And what do you want it to say about them? So we just have these rules that we get stuck on. And so I always think of it in terms of being like a boxer stance, which is sort of the boxer's always got the closer shoulders a little higher, and then their head's tilted to that back shoulder away from the blow, and then you just drop the hands. And that ends up making a pretty good masculine,
boss.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's more assertive. It can even be aggressive. And then
I like
the
assertive.
other one,
That's a good word.
yeah, assertive is really good, and even aggressive, right? And the other one is when your head is tilted to the closer shoulder, it almost looks like a caregiver. Hello, And so I use that a lot for doctors and nurses and therapists, and even sometimes if it's an attorney and maybe they're like the cushy family lawyer who I'm going to help you heal your broken heart or whatever the job is. Shoot the job, not the gender of the person. And it's not like a liberal hippie thing. It's like it makes sense thing. My commission is this. This is my commission is to make this person look successful and to communicate a message to their clients. So
I feel the same way when it comes to like wedding portraits. A lot of people will ask like, oh, okay, well, that's how you pose like a heterosexual couple. How would you pose a non-heterosexual couple with whatever combination you want? And I always say like, it doesn't change. It doesn't change because one, I'm going to pose according to like questions I ask them, like, and that describe their relationship, right? And I'm going to put them in situations, and then I'm going to look at their natural body language, and I'm just going to enhance their natural body language. So
I think that's the best tip you could give anybody on posing, and I get asked about posing all the time. And first of all, I shot a same-sex wedding years ago before I gave up weddings, and this was before the Supreme Court decision and same-sex couples could get married. But they got married in New York where it was legal, and they came and had their wedding in Orlando because they really like Disney and all the other stuff. Yeah. And so we were doing our consult with them, and they said, just don't make us look like brothers. And I was like, oh, that's a good same-sex couple wedding tip. They just don't want to look like brothers. It's like you're just leaning one on the other, and you're like, hey,
arms, handshake.
We're off to see the wizard. You don't want that move.
But that is great posing advice also for a cis couple, because it's the same thing. And a lot of times I don't say as brothers, I say, don't make it look like you're at the 8th grade dance, right? Because then you're not doing your job.
Do I really want to live forever, forever young? Yeah. I don't want a content strike on your channel, so it was only 3 seconds of singing.
Okay.
I don't want to copyright.
See, I would have gone eclipse of the heart, total eclipse of the heart.
And I need you now. Yeah. So I think what I was saying is when you talk about posing, I think that's the most insightful direction that you could tell a photographer is when someone comes into my studio, I always leave a little bit of work to be done. Like a lot of times I'll have lights set up and I'll do the testing when they arrive and the metering. And this is my baby right here. Never go
Oh,
home,
that's
never
so
leave home
cute.
without it. The two things that will make sure that you spend as little time on your computer as possible, right here. So anyway, what I do is I usually just chat with them for, even if it's just 3 or 4 minutes while I'm testing, and then over the course of a couple of minutes, they go from I'm about to be photographed to they sort of loosen up, and then they start to stand like a normal person and in gesture like a normal person. The whole time I'm keeping an eye on them, and they go, okay, they stand like that. And here's the best example of the worst pose for most people is the realtor.
Yes.
You know?
Always the same.
But some people with the right body type and the right body language, they really pull it off and look great. And
Yeah.
so if they stand like that all the time, so they'll just be chatting to me, standing like this, and be like, that's great, do this. All I need you to do now is turn your head a little bit, tilt a little bit, lift your chin a little, and it's perfect. Like you just enhance what they do naturally, and I think people like it better, and it gets you to the
Well,
final result a lot faster.
They do, right? But that's the point. It's not even the final result. It's that they like it better. You're creating an experience for them, and that experience they will remember and pass on 100 times more than they will the actual photo itself.
And it looks like them. And people who know them will be like, yeah, he stands like that all the time. You know, or that's, and so if I'm chatting, I got my little conference table over there, and that's where I'll sit very often. If it's a longer session, a client come in, we'll sit at the table, they'll chat with me about what their goals are, and they'll start to do something like this, and they'll just sit there while they're talking to me, and they'll make these moves, and like, and I go, and I'm always taking note of what they do naturally. And then I'll put them back into the pose that they do naturally because it looks like them because it's what they do. Or some people, they do this move. I don't try to force somebody into something that's going to look unnatural.
Cookie cutter, right?
People do those things all the time. So that my best posing tip for anybody is to take a couple seconds, chat with somebody, and then observe them. Observe their mannerisms, observe what they do, and then you'll get a really great starting place for posing them. Just catalog those ideas, put it, and then you can keep those for later and when other people do it, and it just becomes something that you do more than the rules. The Monty Zucker rules. I have a signed book by Monty Zucker.
Do you?
And I do, and my first photography teacher was his teaching partner, Frank Cricchio, who passed away last year, and another Texas native. And so I get it. I know what the rules are, but the rules can also like chain you into a systematic way of doing things. People want systems for everything, and yes,
They do.
you need those
When
things
you
to
start.
fall back on. You need to know what works, But then you run the risk of becoming that person who's blowing up the Facebook comments, going like, "You're not supposed to. You gotta tilt
my
the head this
God.
way because it's a man." And I'm like, yes, the rule is there, but like, go ahead, go buy a couple of magazines. and like you can tell when you look at an image that somebody broke the rules, but everything else is so right, you knew that it was on purpose.
Right.
And I think that's where you have to get to. You're almost a better photographer when you first start out, when you don't know the rules, because you'll try anything. And then you get into the rules, you get into that tunnel in the middle of your career where it's all rules. And then I think you sort of get like, what else can I do? Then you take what you know about the rules and you just come out the other end of the tunnel and you become a great photographer again because you don't forget to play. You have to remember to just try stuff and not be afraid that it's going to be bad, because I think when you're new, you're just not afraid if it's bad or not. And then all of a sudden you're terrified you're going to take a bad picture. And then so what? We all take bad pictures. And then you come out the other side and you take the rules and you make really cool stuff, knowing how to use them and when not to use them, which is just as important, I think.
I agree. Do you still take bad photos?
Every day. I have some right now. I can share my screen with you and show you the session I just did. I've got several.
Go for
several,
it.
No,
I wanna
absolutely
see.
not. No.
No, we do not have client consent for such
Correct.
things.
That's it. Yeah, I have no problem showing my images. I think that if you think of it in terms of every Oscar-winning film that's 90 minutes to 2 hours long has about 10,000 hours of unusable footage sitting on the ground somewhere. I think that's important to remember.
So true.
And so
true. Hey, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. It's good to be precise and to take fewer bad images to shoot with intention. But like, also, if you try something you haven't tried before and it sucks, that can be really discouraging because you watch Seth do it or you do it on a YouTube channel. But it's like, evaluate, repeat it, adjust it, evaluate, repeat it, adjust it, and eventually it goes into your skill set.
Yeah, and there's that quote by Frank. I forget his last name, but it's like if you're not making mistakes, if you're not failing, you're not working on hard enough problems, and that's the bigger mistake.
That's actually wonderful. Yeah, it's like you're not doing anything challenging to yourself.
You're not
it's
growing, And what was another thing I saw recently? I posted it on my Instagram. It was somebody was saying like, oh, everyone wants to have like, oh, I'm growing, I'm pushing forward, but no one wants to admit that if you're actually doing that, it's painful. Like growth has to be painful or you're not growing, you're not changing. And if you're not okay with that pain that pushing through it is going to lead to something good, then you're just going to be complacent and sit where you are.
Yeah, I see this occasionally where you hear people complain about how nobody ever posts anything that they failed at. And I think that's true. And literally yesterday, there's a photography group that I'm in where the person who runs the group, the sort of the main mentor of the group, posted that they're constantly, this is a person who's constantly talking about raise your prices, book again, raise your price, keep raising your prices. And he posted yesterday that he had lowered his prices. And because 2025 so far, he's not doing the volume that he wants to do. So this is somebody who is consistently raising their prices to hit the limit. And I was like, man, that's really cool because he hit the limit of what his market will support, even in luxury where he's at. And now he's pulling it back to what worked. Like he found the spot. But to go on to your Facebook group where you're the ultimate authority and be like, yeah, I'm slower than I was last year. I think I overshot the pricing and came back down. I was like, man, that's really cool to share that. I thought that was,
That is really cool. I think more people need to share that. No.
You can get a lot of money for weddings, and especially there's money in your market. You've got a great reputation. You've got a wonderful portfolio. You've got other vendors recommending you. But there is a limit that you could hit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I've definitely hit it more than once. And like I would adjust something, in there, whether it's what I'm giving them, the experience. I'm trying to think. I have lowered prices before. I lowered prices when I moved from New Jersey to Austin because flat out I was scared. It's like totally new market. I don't know anybody.
And it would be a state that other people would consider to be less expensive to live in. Maybe average income's lower. So did you keep the lower prices?
I did like the first 2 jobs at probably half of what I was doing in New Jersey, but through like the process I have with like products and selling afterwards and, just offering them other opportunities, I ended up pulling in the same average.
Yeah.
So I decided, and this is kind of like for me, I can do this at this point because I do weddings, I do portraits, I do corporate resort photography, and of course I have the education side. I can do this. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to my pricing that's basically the same as New York, New Jersey without like the embedded travel fee because I have to fly. And if I'm the most expensive photographer in Austin, Texas, I'm okay with that.
Are you the most expensive photographer in Austin, Texas?
I don't think so. Maybe. That sounds like a great SEO strategy. Like I actually just hired an SEO strategist and she's going to work on that.
Hold on. There's got to be somebody Googling that.
The most, right? Even if it's other photographers, that'll help me out because I have a splash
page.
You got
that reputation. Be like, oh my God, Vanessa Joy. There's no way you could afford her. And then somebody rich is going to be like, what do you mean I can't afford? Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
I love that actually.
Actually, can I read you what I responded to someone today? And again,
yes, 100%.
This is because of like where I am. I can be a little ballsy. Like I can F around and find out a little bit. I do it on my social media every once in a while. Like it's just it's fine. Okay. So somebody had reached out to me and said, oh, thanks for reaching out before, we schedule a call. I'm getting quotes around $6,000 that include engagement shoot, full day coverage, shoot photographers. Can you share package details before we set up a call? And first of all, I'm like, yes, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. So, before making appointments so we don't waste our times. And I said 6,000 is definitely the average price for basic wedding photography in the area, but who wants basic cookie cutter wedding photos?
Coming in hot. I love it.
I came in hot. It didn't pan out for the record, but
yeah, you're not going to book that wedding, but
no. I just said I'm for those looking for a custom experience. And my average price is like more than double that. So
right.
I'm not going to book that anyway. But I every once in a while I will say, I don't think I came in that hot, but it was just a couple of weeks ago. I turned a $6,000, same kind of like thought process on how much wedding photography should be, and she booked me for 11.
Yeah, it happens all the time. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it depends on the person on the other end, I think. They're either like truly shopping price, in which case if you're luxury, you can't get that person is never yours. You can't feel like you lost out on that lead because they were never for you anyway. They're
Exactly.
ultimately there's just nothing you can say or do that's going to make them spend $10,000, $12,000 on a wedding, like on a wedding photography. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is. However, there is somebody on the other end that's got money that has the money, but they're doing their due diligence. And if they can come to understand that you value yourself and be like, well, damn, she's got some sand. I like her. And that seems worth it. Whereas most wedding photographers would be like, oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. We can find something that'll fit into that budget. And out of necessity, very often you have to do that. You have to say yes to things because you need income.
You need to, for those of us who are like primary breadwinners, like you and I both are, like you got to put food on the table. And sometimes you have to figure out a way to do that.
So much food. Do you have any idea how much a 10-year-old eats? A lot. You do, right?
I do. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Yeah, your two oldest are the same as my two. Your two are the same as my two oldest. Yeah, 10 and 7.
Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
My 10-year-old Felicity, she decided she wants to be a vegetarian, and I'm pretty sure it's just
In
'cause
Texas, wow.
I
Well,
know, that's
Austin
good
at
to go
least.
for,
At
like,
least
a
you're in
farm
Austin.
church.
Yeah.
It's true.
At least you're in Austin area. You could get anything vegan in Austin. Austin's
Yes,
got a lot of food options.
Very, very
you know?
true. I'm like, is this because you're mad I made you eat your steak that time or pork? I made her eat her pork and she hated it. So now
I think
like,
it's very easy to make kids weird about food because we're from the clean
is.
plate, happy plate generation.
yes.
And
so
that
true.
I think that's so dangerous. If your kids aren't clearing
can
their
be.
plate, then give them smaller portions and make them ask for more. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like the clean plate like thing is so dangerous to me because kids don't have any thoughts or shame when it comes to food naturally. We teach them that, you know.
We do.
They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're full. Unless it's ice cream, and other than that, or Halloween candy. Then they'll
And
eat till
does
they're
that actually ever change? Come on.
no.
Come
It's
on.
nothing you're gonna do is gonna make them not eat Halloween candy till they puke. And then,
No, I mean,
but-
even now, I have a detour pipe that goes to my other stomach if there's ice cream involved.
yeah, 100%. Like that, you got to. Like ice cream doesn't count. It's like it's just like you put fill in a jar full of rocks, and then ice cream will just slough down into all the crevices. You know.
Hold on, we
but-
can make an ASMR noise for that. There we go.
No, I reject that. I
man.
denounce it.
Do those come up in your TikTok scroll?
No, because I don't. It doesn't do anything for. I'm sure if I had
Fascinates
ever
me.
looked for it, I think I googled it once to find out what it was, and I go, I'm good. And then, what's the? Is it mukbang? Watching people eat? Is that the thing you watch? Like old
I
people
don't
eat
know
their
what it's
food.
ca-
It's called.
Aw.
I believe it's called mukbang. Is where you just watch like a small Chinese woman just eat like 17 pounds of noodles, and you just watch that for like an hour. Yeah,
Wow.
there's some weird stuff on the internet. Yeah, absolutely.
There is.
But if you're constantly making a kid obsessed with cleaning their plate, you know, I was like, stop eating like instead of regulating their portions and to the amount where they want to eat, you just go like, eat, clean your plate. Here's a gold star for cleaning your plate, and it's like now
Yeah.
you just feel weird about it. Just eat less, and it's okay. They won't die.
my-
They're pediatricians on top of it, you know.
Yeah, my kids' problem is they snack and they sneak their snacks. So now I'm like, they stuff their face so then they don't eat the actual food.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
that's
awesome.
that's you just got to put everything up on a really high.
No, mine are climbers.
Yeah.
If I do that, you're going to see me in the news for like a kid dies climbing a 12-foot shelf.
Yeah, we put a lock on the fridge. Not a lock, but like one of
I
those
have a
things
lock
that
on my pantry.
yeah, you have to
I feel like
when
a
you
failure.
no, I mean it's sort of like kids. They're not house cats, right? Like a cat will just eat a little bit and then come
Yeah.
back and eat a little more. A dog will eat till it dies. Like it's just you
Yes.
come home and your dog just exploded.
Aw.
But kids will like eat if it's ready to go, and sometimes it's just like you want to have good snack food. So my wife does an amazing job. She keeps like gigantic containers of like fresh fruit chopped up
Jersey
and
Julie.
vegetables everywhere. Yeah, oh man. And so we have all of these Pyrex dishes. The whole fridge is just Pyrex dishes of strawberries and blueberries and other stuff. And yeah,
Could she do
it's just-
mine next?
Yeah,
I'd like
I
that.
tell you what, she might. Yeah, she might be willing.
I will pay for that.
You will pay for a lot of things. You need help, I think.
No, because I know the value of my time, and I know the value of like creating good things for people, including food for my family.
Yeah, dude, like it's I think that, when it comes to business, it's such an attitude that you might not have that attitude if you hadn't become a successful entrepreneur, right? It's like I'm going to
Yeah.
outsource anything that like is below my pay grade or that I don't enjoy. It's all getting and I think
Or
that
that I'm not good at, or what's the
oh
other thing?
yeah,
Anything
like
that slows me down, or anything where my face is not. Those are my
yeah, I
five
yeah,
rules.
I used to wait, what are the five rules? Anything that slows you down,
Anything
anything
that
you're bad
slows you
at.
down, anything you're bad at, anything where your face is not, anything that is below your pay grade, and anything that you don't like. You don't like doing.
Okay, tell me about what your face is not, where your face is not.
So I don't need to upload my client photos to their gallery because no one's watching me do that, right? Like that's my face doesn't have to be there. I don't have to actually write or schedule my own social media post because that's my face is not there, right?
Yeah,
Client
okay.
facing things.
I like those rules. Somebody write that down. Do you have a do you have a free PDF guide that you can link
Of
people to?
course I do. Of course I do. I have
Put
so
that
many free PDF guides. It's like obscene. If
Do
you
you
go
find
to
that those work client facing though? Yeah. What's the website
yeah.
where people can get the 5 things? I think that's super. I want that.
All right. So if
Send
you
me that
go
PDF.
to, you could go to vanessajoy.com, but like breatheyourpassion.com gets you directly there. I have a section of like free resources. There's like a bazillion free things there. So knock yourself
Okay.
out.
Free resources work really well, I find, in my marketing to photographers because it's easy for photographers to give them something that they want. You could create a posing guide. You could create a
Top
you
of
could
funnel guide, we call it.
So you want your tofu, your top of funnel, right? And so like, but you could create an action set or presets for
Preset.
Lightroom.
I got a
could
free
think of-
preset on there for you.
I could think of 100 things that a photographer would click on and download. It's much harder on the client end to come up with a download that people will click on. And so I know you're good at that, which is why I'm interested in because I know on your website you have a download pop up and
Yep.
it's like a wedding planning guide. Like, how does that work? How do you get your
Yeah.
people to click and download and give you their email address?
So for my clients, right? So the thing for my clients, I've done a few different things. If you are in the budget category for weddings, let's just say anything about like how to save 10 ways to save money on your wedding. Great. But you have to think of their phase of life. The misconception is most people think, okay, I'm a photographer. I have to give them photography advice for whatever photography genre I'm selling. And the answer is no. You have to meet them where they are in their stage of life. So again, weddings, I'm going to give them like 10 ways to make your house feel like a home when you first move in together because they're probably have just moved in together or will move in together soon.
You're
right?
an expert on that. You were married. You have a house.
Yep.
Like that makes you a subject matter expert.
Yeah. Well, if I'm doing something for like corporate people, right, I'll probably give them like, are you a business tycoon quiz? Like something along those lines where like, I want to know if I'm a business tycoon, like master or whatever. And it's like a cute little quiz.
You could figure that out like with, if you photograph actors and models, or they're aspiring if they're looking for to hire you for portfolio,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
you could give them here's a resource list for agencies and
Yes.
actor resources like as a download. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Because all you're trying
work
to
in the
do,
industry, yeah.
yeah, all you're trying to do is get their contact information to start talking to them and show them that, hey, I can help you along your journey.
Yeah, and I bet you have a whole bunch of email automations that follow them after that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and there's some ads maybe that retarget.
I have done ads at Retarget also. Yeah. I don't do a lot. I have to say, I don't do a lot for my photography business, almost none. I do them for photographers.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't have any running. I haven't had any running probably the past 6
Yeah,
months. But
I have struggled with getting photographers to respond to paid ads. It's normally sort of
there's just
like
too many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just everywhere. I see that there's one guy who's selling a mat with feet on it, and then you stand on the feet for headshots. And I
Yeah.
see people going crazy over that thing, and that ad is everywhere. I'm not criticizing the product. I'm sure it's incredibly useful. It's just one that I see a lot. But I feel like there's so many ads targeted at photographers, especially photographers selling something to other photographers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
because it's like epidemic. Okay, I'm 5 years into, and I'm not judging for the record because I followed the same path. I'm 5 years into business, and I shouldn't say epidemic. I don't mean it to be a negative thing. It's just you're 5 years
Endemic.
into business. You think like, hey, I'm doing really good at this, running my photography business. In your head, it's like, okay, where's the next level up? At least a good entrepreneur is like, where's my next level? Where's my growth from here? And people don't think about scaling their own business. They think about education a lot in the photography world. There's so many educators.
That is interesting to think about, because I had this
Yeah.
conversation with the good and great Gregory Daniel years ago, when I was trying to come up with all these ideas to become a more influential educator and influencer. And I had a decent photography business going. It was really getting its legs under it. And he looks
Now,
at
this
me and
is back when you were all known as PPA Gary.
still known as PPA Gary. Were you at Imaging this year?
Yeah, for 40 hours. And I taught like 4 classes in 40 hours. Did I even see you?
No, I think we walked by each other in the hall for like a
Waved,
minute.
and all of our
Yeah.
pictures, you and me had more pictures together plastered
That's what
everywhere.
I'm saying. Like, my face was literally everywhere. I had my kids with me. They thought I owned the Gaylord Hotel. Like, they thought, because it was literally the first thing you see when you walk in the lobby was a 17
Your
hats
face.
banner with my big dumb face on it, you know. And
Back to whatever you were saying, not to totally.
Right.
You wanted
So-
to elevate your education.
right, and so what he told me was this. He said, that's really good. He's like, but if you're you're trying to ride 2 horses at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
He said when you're going to have a lifespan on your ability to influence. Most people do. Some transcend that. Some educators, influencers, they just keep going. Like Jerry Gionis, no matter how long it's been,
Yep.
that guy's still relevant in the industry. But
Yep.
most educators, they come in, they go like this, and then they go
It's
like
true.
this. And if you put all your energy into becoming that, when you
Yes.
turn around, you have abandoned your
Ooh.
business. And the way he described it, he said, you don't want to put your ladder on that wall. He
That's
said,
right.
you leave your ladder on this wall. He's like, you got to make sure that your business is healthy, put that energy into your business, and think of this as like a thing you do as a side hustle. Think of it as, and your business, if you're using good business practices, it's a lot easier to run your photography business and to grow that. And that will always be there for you. And so I followed that advice. There's so many advice I've gotten so much great advice from Greg over the years. And so now it's gotten to the point where that was probably 6 years ago. And over the last couple of years, I have been able to hire enough people in place where 75% of the work in my studio isn't shot by me.
And that's how you scale.
Yes. And so, like, I've got Wayne, who's incredible, who's my lead shooter, who does so much work for me. Ivana, who's incredible, who does so much work for me, and several other really talented contractors who take a lot of the work. And so now I have carved out time. I have 2 full days a week for marketing and content and working on my business and doing whatever I want to do. And if I had just abandoned my business, I would be a burned out creator like so many other people we know.
Yes,
That it's just like,
and-
I got to come up with the next piece of content,
Yeah.
or I'm
Yep.
not getting a check from whatever brand or
Yes.
whoever it is. And you're like,
And
my
you're
bit-
irrelevant, right? You can't teach business anymore.
Right. Yeah. Because
So-
you don't
oh,
have
man.
one.
So
And
many
then you're
people
just
do that.
another person, be like, here's another model and here's the latest whatever. And look,
Yeah.
my favorite is, and I've done these videos, tell me you haven't done these videos, where you're like speculating on a camera that hasn't come out yet. And you're like,
I'm
I
not
don't have it in
allowed
my
to.
hands. Oh, good. That's good. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you're contractually obligated. So I did that once based on, like, they call it a spec sheet review. And I think who actually does this pretty well is Jared Poland does these
Jared
pretty
does,
well.
yes.
And who does them badly, no offense to
No.
anything. I believe they're incredible content, but the Northrops, they do a lot of spec sheet reviews. And I think a lot of it is sort of like, but I never get mad. I always appreciate the time that people take to create. And by the way, I think the Northrop's drone prep course was one of the coolest things. I spent an hour watching.
Yeah.
They have a free drone preparation course that's incredible. I don't know
that's
even if
cool.
it's, they made it a few years ago. I don't know if it's relevant, but that really helped me get a handle on that for my part 107. But anyway, so the spec sheet review, and then I'm making these videos like this, and I see people there's a good version of everything. And I see creators do these things, and then I'm thinking, like, I want to get the likes. I want to get the views. I want to get, but then
The gear
the lo-
always does it.
the longer I've done it, yeah, because the gear, those also die really fast. You know, those videos die really fast. You'll get like, maybe you'll get 10,000 views in the first day and it'll chug for a little bit. But so I've been concentrating on like evergreen kind of videos.
Slow grows, I call them.
That will just sit out there and churn for you. 100 views a day forever. You know what I mean? But I only make a video when I like think of something I want to make a video about. And because I have my business pays my bills and my education, I've actually, if you start to look over the last couple of years, my videos have become really curated into things that are my specialty that I can speak completely on because I am a subject matter expert in my little niche. And so now what the cool part about that is, because I'm like, you know what, I this is how I deal with this problem all the time, and this saves me a ton of time, and this is a great thing to teach. I'll make a video about it, and then I will, if I'm on other social media and people have a question, be like, oh, I have a video for that. And now it's all, I made a video about this exact problem. And so it's funny, it's become a joke in certain groups on Facebook because I'm constantly posting a link to it. Like, how do you price it when you get an inquiry for a big headshot job? I go, ooh, I have that. And I send.
You don't get yelled at for doing that?
No, I go, hey, I made a video about exactly. I'm never posting my videos in groups saying, hey, go watch my video. If it's the response to a legitimate question, I'll be like, hey, I actually have a video that answers this exact question, and you can check it out.
I did that, and someone was like, that's solicitation. Did the exact same thing. Like,
no,
okay,
it's saving
answering
me time,
the question in video form, but okay.
Fine. I tell you what I will also do. I will take the description of the YouTube video and I will copy and paste the text from that so you can read it as a comment.
Here's the transcript.
That would be amazing. And it's like,
really, really long.
I like
mostly aired.
Think about it this way. If somebody says, hey, have you, what do you know about this particular lighting modifier? And you're like, actually, I reviewed it. Like here, like this is everything I think about this lighting modifier in a 2.5 minute video. There you go. And if somebody was mad at that, I think that they just need a hobby. You know, I just think they need some Jesus or something, man. They need to calm down.
Just like the actual real truth behind every troll? It's like you just need a hobby. Get out of your mom's basement.
Well, they have one, trolling. Right?
Trolling, yeah. A new hobby.
Didn't you and I talk about this? I was listening, and it was this, I think it was NPR, like Weekend Edition, I think, several years ago. I told you a story where a producer for Weekend Edition tracked down like 10 different really aggressive trolls who are commenting on YouTube videos and actually figured out like who it was and like went to their houses and interviewed them.
Oh my God.
And we're talking about people saying just the most vile stuff. And then it turns out she interviewed them, and she interviewed them very warmly and kind of lovingly. It wasn't like, she was like,
you're a jerk,
gotcha.
Tell me why.
No, it was like, hey, what's going on? Are you so-and-so 6969? Can you, like cool dude 69? Are you that?
Yep.
And then got to talk. Honestly, they were all down to a man, actually, because it was all men. Let's not kid. Dying to talk to somebody. That's the crazy thing. Dying to talk. And not only that, but like not one of them had a full, happy life. They were usually like in a tough spot. They're usually like isolated, and this is their outlet for the rage that they feel personally, and the
so attention that they need that they're not getting.
Which brings me back to the same piece of advice that my dad gave me. It's like, know who you're talking to, speak to them, and don't worry about everybody else. And that comes to clients, that comes to friends and family, that comes to social media. Speak to who needs you, serve who needs you, and let everybody else kick rocks. That's just the best thing you can do in your life.
It's true. And don't let them live in your head rent free, because I'm guilty of that. Either I'll snap back or I'll think about it for too long and just
you're taking a shower and you're like, oh, I have the perfect response now. Damn it, why didn't I say that?
I gotta go edit my reply.
You just can't reply. My new reply is like, you seem like a really nice person.
Who hurt you? Show me on
sweet.
The doll.
Yeah, show me on the doll where they hurt you. That's what I'm saying. It's just like they only exist for that moment, and that's a very small moment for me. So I'm just gonna try my very best to only ever respond and go like, you seem like a really nice person, fun at parties,
kind of to bring this full circle, because I do have to get on an appointment in a few minutes, but like when it comes to, we were talking about doing business videos and how I did business videos on YouTube and nobody watches them.
Nobody
And so
does. Trust me. That's all I do.
Yeah, I stopped making them and I started doing what more people want, posing lighting gear. And recently, a few months ago, I started like, you know what? I'm going to make a business mastermind. Like it's a high ticket business mastermind. And I got convinced of it by a coach that I paid like 20 grand, honestly, like a lot of money to help
Takes your
coach
20
me.
grand and goes, you should start coaching people because it pays really well.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It does. But what ended up happening is I like found all those few people that watched those
Yes.
YouTube videos that actually valued that. And since then, like I've been learning exactly what your dad said. Just speak to those people because those are the people whose lives you're going to change. Those are the people who are going to soak up every word. So you know what? I want to meet your dad.
Yeah,
High five him for that.
He's a good dude. Yeah, that's the thing is I think that you're such a great photographer, right? And you're a great teacher of photography. But there are, no offense, many people who can take great pictures and teach how to do it. You are in such a small elite class of people who can also teach people how to run a business and how to create a business that is, you know, unique and distinct and profitable. And that is a much smaller number. And you're in both of those categories. So leaning into the thing that is the most unique about you as an instructor is the thing that you have that so few people have is you can teach people how to make a living and how to live a real life. Like that's, to me, that's powerful. I'll take.
That's exciting. Yeah.
I'll take those shut up and take my money nerds. I want them. I want them. I want those people. I want to be in a mastermind with them. And we'll talk about business. And you know what? You can learn how to take headshots from anybody. You don't need me. You know?
Yep. So true. We'll take it. Asher, I'm sorry you just joined. What is this? I don't know what this was. I know that I'm like, hey, Gary, want to be on my podcast? I didn't say it was going to be video, by the way. He pops on. I'm like, let's go live. And I love that you
immediately
first
started
asked,
wiping the
what
grease
are we
off
going
my
to talk
face.
about? I'm like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll just talk like we talk all the time.
I'm
It's
under
fine.
lights right now. I knew that your lighting was going to be good, so I had to make sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Ryan LaRose, I do offer in-person education over Zoom, and I have occasionally had people come fly to my studio or
give me the
for-
website so I
for
can
training.
pop it in.
If you just go to my website, it's hughesfioretti.com/education, HUGHESFIORETTI.com/education.
Spelled it right on the first
Nailed
try.
it. Well,
Put
you
in
are
the chat.
Italian, so I give you credit. My wife's the
Sure.
Fioretti. So if you go to the bottom, there's a one-on-one mentoring form that you can fill out. This is just where I dump all of my speaking engagements, everything that I'm doing, my latest YouTube video. It's all the stuff I make pretty much in one place. It's not a subscription service or anything. But at the bottom, there's a form you can fill out if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring. And then my AI chatbot, no, I'm just kidding, Al, my assistant Al, he is big A, little L, right, like Al. But whenever he's typing his name in an email, it looks like, hey, my
The
assistant
AI.
Al is going to call you. And they're
That's
like,
so
you have
funny.
an AI assistant? But anyway, so yeah, I absolutely do. And I'm not a life coach. I'm not like going to be with you
You're my
monthly
life
or
coach.
weekly. Yeah, thanks. But I am a really good short-term problem-solving coach. It's like you need your website evaluated, you need to come up with a price list, you need a business plan. I will help you. Or you need critique on your work. I will do those single-serving problems all day long. I will not be with you as a guru throughout the course of the next year. I'm just not an organized person. Give me your website. I'll give you a checklist. Go do these things and you'll be off and running. I'm really, really good at those short-term fixes, those short fixes for long-term problems. And that's how I tell people is like, if we're not a good fit, that's fine. If you want somebody to tell you how great you are once a week and pay me to do it, it's like, I'm not that guy. I got too many kids. But anyway.
That's actually what I do, but on a 12 to 16 week time span or 6 months, depending on what you need. I love that Ariel learned a lot about something that he's unsure of. All right, I'm going to go because this week I'm interviewing people for my mastermind because I do like an open close door thing, just taking on as many people as I can handle and walk
That's
side by
awesome.
side with. And,
Well, I've
and
got a
actually,
sandwich
like,
and some
chill.
fresh pickles to eat, so I'm very busy as well.
Pickles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love pickles.
Oh, we get the Costco one, the big jug with the full spears, man. No messing around. We don't get
Oh, man.
Yeah, go to
I want
Costco,
that.
get the jug of pickles, and I'm gonna go do that while you make money, and
That
then I'm gonna
is exciting.
photograph another lawyer's headshot. So thanks for having me. I hope there was
So
something in here
glad.
for somebody.
Yes, so glad. This is perfect. Oh, this is funny. Kyle asked, can you show me how to place a mic and frame without it getting in the way? I got no idea. That's why you see my mic. All right. I will let you go do that. Go have your lunch if anyone's interested in the mastermind, which
Can you just
I
leave and
can't
leave me
sell
with
this.
your audience?
You should. I don't know. Does that work?
And I'll
This is
just eat my
first time
sandwich
using
for your
Pinterest.
audience.
That'll probably go viral. Eating.
I've
for
stepped on you
hours.
twice, giving people the link to your mentorship. So I will. I'll go ahead.
Well, I can't sell it because there's a waiting list of over 100 people long. So
Okay. Well,
you have to get on the waiting list. There's that, but so it's not salesy. Yeah, but yeah, I wonder if I'll just leave and
You
you
were
eat
leaving,
your
I'll
pickles.
just-
You
I'll
eat your pickles. It'll be a combo eating and ASMR thing. That'll go
Oh,
over well.
mukbang / ASMR. Yeah.
ASMR mukbang. Oh my God, we have to stop.
By the way,
Okay.
which was the name of my band in high school.
All right, guys, this is the Raw Files. You can check out this podcast. This is just the first time I put it on YouTube, but you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts. This is the Raw Files. Insert outro here. Yay. Thanks, Gary. That was fun.
Keep it.
Good first time.